Hi team, welcome back to another learning video of TechTitan's Academy. Today we are going to see how we can interact with the Docker with the help of Docker CLI. Okay, so we all know Docker is a software platform that will help you to build, test, and deploy your application. Okay, in a container form. So let's go back to the terminal and then we can see how we can interact with the Docker. Okay, so there are two parts with the Docker, right? First one is the Docker image and the Docker containers. Okay, so what is the Docker image? Docker image is a read-only template that will consist or that will have the application code, the actual application code, dependencies, and the configuration files. Okay, so it's a template of this specific information. Okay, application code, dependencies, libraries, okay, and the configuration file. So what is the container here now? The container is a running instance of an image. Okay, for example, just for an example, let's consider this Safari is a browser in the MacBook. So consider this as an image, correct? As soon as I click on the Safari, I will have a one instance of the Safari, that is one container. Okay, this is just an example. This has nothing to do with the Docker. Okay, so this is just an example. So this is a running instance of Safari. Okay, as soon as I click it, now this specific application is not running, right? So this could be an image. We can call it as an image. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, let's go back to the terminal. Okay, I'll just maximize the screen. Okay, very first command that we would be running is docker version hyphen version. This will show what is the Docker version available on this machine. So this is the version I installed, that is 28.3.2, and this is the build ID. Okay, now we have seen images and container. The very first command we are going to run is pull. Okay, how we are downloading the image, right? So there is this website called Docker Hub where all the images are stored. Okay, if you want to search, let's say Ubuntu is an operating system, I want to search an image of an Ubuntu. I will just type Ubuntu here, just click. Okay, okay. So this is the, let's click on the Docker official images. So this is the official repository for the Ubuntu. Okay, this is the command I am going to run in order to run the Ubuntu. Okay, first pull, it's like downloading the specific image to your operating system or to your laptop. Okay, just like this you can search other images such as httpd. I want to host a website, so I want to have httpd container or httpd image. So I will go to httpd. Okay, let me search. Okay, so it is asking me to select the official image for this one. Okay, fine. Yeah, we are at the httpd repository. Okay, now this is how you pull the httpd image. This is how you download. Pull is equal to download. Okay, now let me go back. Let me run this command for you. Okay, docker pull httpd. I will hit enter. It will take some sweet time. Okay, so when you say docker pull httpd, by default it is going to fetch the latest image. Okay, by default it is going to fetch the latest image. Okay, that is whatever latest image is available on this repository, it will fetch it. If you want to have some specific version to test, you can use this tags. Okay, 2.4.65 or let's say 2 alpine or 24665 alpine. Okay, in that scenario what you have to do, you have to copy this 2.4 and you have to add that 2.4 here. Okay, and you have to just hit enter. So it will by default pull the specific version, correct? Now let's compare the above output. When I run the docker pull command, it says by default tag is latest. Okay, and downloading newer image for HTTPD latest. So this is the latest image. Okay, now when I run with the version tab, or that is a tag, that is 2.4, it goes and download that specific version for me. Okay, now this is how you can download the specific version, or you can get the latest one if you do not specify anything. Okay, now I have downloaded an image, correct? The first part is done, downloading an image. Okay, now I want to run it. Okay, before that I want to see where exactly is that image is. So I'm gonna run docker image command. Okay, it shows this specific repository. I have downloaded this image which is running 2.4 version. This is the image ID. Okay, this says 2.2 weeks ago. Okay, I think this is the time this image got created. Okay, this is the size of an image. Now I know I have the image of HTTPD. Okay, now I want to run it. Correct. Now I'm going to run docker run command. Okay, docker run. I will just type image ID or maybe repository name, that will also work. I'm going to hit enter here. Okay, now when I ran this command, if you see my terminal got stuck there. Okay, I cannot run any command. If I hit enter, I will get a new blank line. Okay, if you see this, my prompt got attached to this specific container. Okay, so by default when you run a command docker run and container name or image id, okay, image id or maybe repository id, so that scenario your terminal get attached to the specific container. Now I cannot run any command here. Let me go back and let me open another terminal here. Okay, now this specific container is up and running. Okay, it's just shutting down. Okay, let me start it again. So this container is up and running. How do I see? Correct. How do I see the containers now? We have seen images. Now let's see a running instance of an image, that is container. So how do I see? With the help of ps command. Docker ps. Correct. Docker ps. So this is the container ID. This is the image ID fbc121. If you go back, fbc121199ccad. Okay, 199 ccad. So this is the command, it is running inside the container. So it has been created 13 seconds ago. Okay, this is the port, this is the default name. Okay, now let me run the docker ps again. I still see that container is up and running. Okay, now what we have done, we have downloaded an image, created a container out of it, and with the help of docker ps command we can see the running instance of that image. Okay, now I want to stop this image. Okay, sorry, container. So I'm gonna run docker stop. I will provide docker container ID here. Done. Okay, my image, sorry, my container has stopped with the docker stop command. Okay, if I go back, if you see, I got my terminal back here. Now I can run any command to it, right? Okay, now when I run a docker ps command, I will not see anything here. Okay, that is expected because we have stopped the container. Okay, now how do I see the container which are not running? So there is another command that says docker ps, but this time we have to provide -a option. Okay, see, I have two containers here. This is the first container that we have started and got killed after some time, and this is the recent container. It says created a minute ago and 39 seconds ago it got exited. Correct. This is where you can see how many containers were running. So it's kind of a history. It's kind of all tag. Okay. Now, if you see the name, so by default it is picking the name randomly. Okay, I want to provide my own name to the container. Okay, so how do I do that? I will run the same command docker run, but this time I am passing a parameter that says name. Okay, web server 1. Okay, now I'm gonna give the image name. or maybe image ID. So you can give this as well, or you can give image ID as well. Now let me try giving the image ID as well. I will hit enter. Okay, again, if you see my container got attached to it, sorry, the terminal got attached to it, correct? I cannot run any command here. So this is the attach mode. Okay, now let me go back to previous terminal. Okay, and let me run docker ps command here just to see if that container is running or not. Yes, I see that container is running with this ID. Every container will get a different ID. Okay, this is the unique ID that has been generated by the Docker engine. Okay, this is the image we are using. I think this is the same image ID FBC12199. Okay, this is the background command. It has created 16 seconds ago. This is the status. See the name. It says web server 1. Okay, this is how you can pass your own name to the Docker container. Okay, that could be anything, your name, your surname, or if you want to pass any random stuff to it, you can pass it, right? Now, if you see this, I'm still attached to the terminal, right? Correct. If I hit enter multiple times, I don't see anything, right? So let me do one thing. Let me stop the container, docker stop. We will stop with the help of container ID. Okay. So this is the image and this is the running instance of an image. Okay. I will stop. As soon as I stop, if you go back to this terminal again, I got my prompt back. See, it says shutting down gracefully. Correct? That container has gone down. If I run docker ps command, I don't see it anymore, right? Now let's solve this problem. Okay, I want to run the same container with the web server 2 name, but I do not want to get attached to this one. Okay, I do not want to see the log of the containers. Okay, how do I do that? Docker run name web server 2, correct? httpd. Okay, this time I'm gonna pass -d option. Okay, -d option. Okay, that will go in a background. Okay, -d option will send this container to run in the background. Okay, if I hit D, see, I got my terminal prompt back. Correct. And what is this? This is the actual container ID. Correct. We see only 7 to 8 characters here, right? But this is the actual container ID. Now, when I run docker ps, I see the same container has been running. Okay, with the same name, web server 2. Web server 2. If you see, it's starting with the DEEF2. DEEF2. Okay, this is the actual container ID. Okay, now if you see, I am not attached to that container now. Correct? I got my prompt back. I can run multiple commands here. Okay, so -d is for detach mode or send this container in a backend or background. Okay, now how do I get attached to this specific container again? Docker attach, and I'm gonna type this name. Okay, now see, my terminal got attached to it. Okay, I am seeing the logs of the terminal. Now let me go back to another tab. Okay, and let me try to stop that container. How do I stop it? Docker stop. I will pass the container name. Okay, you see the log? It says shutting down gracefully. Okay, in most of the scenario going forward, we will be using -d option. Okay, because we do not want to attach to the container. Okay, we are going to send the container in a detach mode, in a background mode, you can say. Okay, now let me run the same command for you. Okay, let me try with the 3 web server 3. Okay, now this container is up and running, right? How do I verify? Docker ps. Okay, I will just clear my screen, run the docker ps one more time. Okay, now I want to see what exactly is happening with this container. I want to see the metadata of this container. Okay, information about this container. So we have a command called inspect, docker inspect, and you have to pass the container ID. See, inspect will give you a small detail of this container. Okay, let me go. Okay, this is where we have ran the command. If you see, this is the ID. This is the actual full ID. Okay, this is the time container got created. Okay, the current status is running. It is running true. Pause, false, because it is not paused. Okay, it is not restarting it. Okay, this is the state. Okay, so this is the image. Correct. Let's scroll down. You will see what is the name we have given to this container is web server 3. Correct. Restart count is 0. Okay, we haven't restarted this container yet, right? So what is the platform here? Platform is Linux. Okay, let me scroll down. Let me show you some more detail about the networking stuff. Okay, if you go to networking tab, you see IP address section. So this is the IP address of this specific container. Every container will get an IP address. Okay, so this is the IP address. Okay, this is the platform. Okay, so from where we downloaded that image, HTTP image, if you see, this is the URL dockerhub.com. Okay, this is the same URL. See. Okay, this is kind of origin. Okay, from this is where we have downloaded the container. Okay, now let me show you the container. Now it is running. Okay, now I want to stop this. Docker stop the container. Okay, now if you see docker ps-a, see these are the containers, the past containers which are not running anymore. Every container is in exited state. Okay, now if you see the names, first time we have given web server 1, web server 2, web server 3. Okay, now if I try to run the same command, okay, let me run the same command. It says web server 3 and I will hit enter. I will get an error. Okay, what is that error? It says error response from Docker conflict. What was the conflict? The container name web server 3 is already in use by container this. Okay, you have to remove or rename that container to be able to reuse that name. Okay, if you see, we have passed web server 3, but this name was already been used, web server 3, to this container D9C04. I think this is the one. See, D9C04. Okay, so in order to reuse the same name, I have to remove this container. Correct? How do I remove? Docker rm, and I will get the container ID here. Done. It has been removed. Correct? Now I will go back and I'll try to run the same command. There you go. I don't see any error, right? Because this specific name, okay, this container was still holding that specific name, right? So I had to remove that. Okay, then I was able to use the same name again. Okay, this is how you can remove the containers. Now let me clear my screen. Docker run -a, sorry, docker ps-a. I want to remove all the containers. Docker remove. I do not want to have a history of it. Okay, I'm gonna, this is how you can remove multiple containers. Docker remove and just add multiple container ID here. Okay, so these are not the running containers, right? If you see, we have given -e option and the status of this is exited. Only one is running at the moment. Okay, now I will hit enter. I got an error from one that says container is running. I have to stop it, which is FB4A, which is this one, FB4A. If you see, it is up and running. So I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to stop the container and then I will remove it. Correct. If I run the docker ps-a again, I don't see anything because I have removed the history. Okay, I don't have any history, right? But if I run a docker images, I still see I have two images. Okay, how do I remove these images? Okay, there is the same command you have to run, docker rm, but this time you have to pass I for the image. Okay, I'm gonna give image ID. Okay, it says must be forced. Image is referring multiple repository. If you see the both image for both the images, that is 2.4 and the latest one have the same image ID. So that's the reason it is conflicting which one to delete. Let me try something like this. HTTPD 2.4. Okay, let me now try removing this specific container. Okay, RM is will not work. RM is for the containers. RMI is for the images. Done. It says untagging deleted. Okay. Now if I run docker images now, I don't see anything. Okay. Now let's try pulling one more images. Docker pull Ubuntu. Okay. Now I have a Ubuntu image. How do I check? Docker images. Okay. Ubuntu is an operating system, but understand this part. Okay. Docker containers are not meant to host an operating system. Okay. Now if I run docker Ubuntu image, docker run Ubuntu, okay, let's say this time I am not attached to this container. Okay, if I run docker ps here, I don't see that container is up and running. Okay, so as long as the process inside of this Ubuntu is running, a docker container will be running. If there is no process inside this specific uh, container is running, you will not see that container running here. Okay, so we have to start some process inside that specific container. Okay, then you are going to see that specific container is up and running. Now if you go docker ps-a, it says exited. It has started 43 seconds ago and exited as soon as it started, it went down. Why? Because there was no process running. Okay, now how do I run a command? Let's say docker run Ubuntu. Okay, okay, after the image name, whatever you are passing here will go as a command. For example, sleep 100 is in seconds, 100 seconds. Okay, now and let's monitor the behavior. Okay, I'll hit enter. Okay, you see my prompt got attached to it, terminal got attached to it. I cannot do anything right now. Correct? Why? Because this specific container is running, and what it is doing, it is sleeping for 100 seconds. So sleep 100 is in process. Okay, now if I go back to another terminal, I will run docker ps. I see that specific container. Correct? It says sleep 100, which is this command. We have given an instruction to this container to sleep for 100 seconds. Okay, this is the name. Now let me do one thing. Let me stop this container and let me try to give another command to it. Okay, done. See, as soon as this container has stopped, I got my prompt back. Correct? I will just run the docker container again, but this time I am running Okay, I'm running this command, which is cat etc os releases, because I want to see the current version of my Ubuntu. Okay, I downloaded the latest version, but I want to know the exact version here. Okay, so this is the file in every Linux operating system that stores the information about your operating system, like what version you are using, what is the type of the operating system. Okay, now I will hit enter. Okay, OS release. Okay, sorry, it was released, not releases. Okay, very first thing, I got my terminal back. Okay, that means my container has exited. Docker ps. I don't see that container running. Why? Because the process which we have given, that is cat etc OS release, has completed. Okay, this command has ran. Okay, this specific operating system has ran this command, and this is the output we got. Once that command ran successfully, this operating system or a Ubuntu container went down, because there is no purpose keeping this container up and running, right? We have given a task to the container and that task is completed. Okay, let's run one more command. Okay, you remember a command that says pwd, present working directory. Okay, let's try to run the same command inside the container, that is pwd. See, it says we are under a root and I got my prompt back. If I run docker ps command, I will not see that container up and running, because I have given a task to that container to print pwd command and give me the output. And as soon as that command is exited, the command is completed successfully, the container went down. Okay, we have given a task, that task is completed, a job of the container is done. Okay, let's try one more last command, that is docker run ubuntu who am I. Who am I shows the default user for the operating system. See, I ran a container. Okay, in backend it ran the who am I command. I got the output, that is root user by default, and I got my terminal back. Correct? The container has stopped. Okay, but if I go back and go into the history, I will see all the containers. If let's go back and check the first one, cat OS releases started and went down as soon as we got the output of this one. Again, this one pwd started and went down as soon as we got the output. Same goes with the who am I. Okay, understand the operating system images or a container, they are not meant to host an operating system. Okay, you will not see them running continuously, just like we have seen httpd container running, right? You cannot see them running. You have to give a task. Okay, as soon as that task is completed, your container will go down. This is specific to the operating system containers. Okay, let me run docker ps command. Okay, I don't see anything up and running here. Let me run docker ubuntu container with sleep 100 1000. So this time this container will be sleeping for 1000 seconds. Okay, now I don't have the uh, terminal access, because I did not use the -d option, that is detach mode. Okay, so this terminal will be stuck for 1000 seconds. Correct? I'll just go back to this terminal. I will run docker ps command. If you see, this specific container is up and running, which is running sleep command. Okay, which we have given. Okay, now how do I get inside to this specific container? Correct? I want to get inside to that container. I want to create some folders. Okay, in that scenario, you are going to run docker execute it. I'm going to give container id and bash. Okay, so docker execute. What command I want to execute? I want to get inside the container. Correct? I want to get inside the container. So I'm going to give the container ID. Okay, So what is IT? It is an interactive shell. Just like this specific bash shell, I want to get inside to that container into the bash shell. Okay, you can type /bin bash or only bash, both will work. Now see, this command I ran on MacBook, Mac Note. Now if I run this command doc execute interactive shell for this container and bash, I am inside the container. How do I confirm again? I am logged in as a root. Okay, you remember we have seen the default user as a root. I am logged in as a root. If you see B0A61 is the host name, which is the container ID. Okay, so I am inside the this specific Ubuntu container. Now let me run some command cat etc, the same command I would be running os releases. Okay, I see the same output here. Okay, I'm gonna run pwd command present working directory. So by default it says root. Okay, I'm gonna type one more command, that is who am I see root. Okay, this is how you get inside the container and run some command. Now as soon as I hit exit, I will be coming out of that container. Okay, docker ps, I still see that container up and running because we have given a task to sleep for 1000 seconds. So this container will sleep for 1000 seconds and will exit. Okay, now you can run multiple instances of Ubuntu. Correct? Let me list the images. I have a Ubuntu image, correct? I can create multiple instances of Ubuntu. Let me show you docker run Ubuntu 100. This time I'm gonna use -d option. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Now this time I have initiated two containers, started two containers, and this is the previous one. So I should be having three containers now. See, three containers. Correct? Every container will get a unique ID. Correct? Now this is all about the downloading an image, running a container out of it, inspecting an image, okay, removing image, removing old containers. Okay, if you want to see how many command it supports, okay, you will just type docker -help. So these are the command it supports. We have seen run, execute, ps, uh, pull, images, okay, info we have seen, version we have seen. Okay, these are the command docker utility supports. Attach we have seen, correct? So this is all about the basic command of docker. Okay, I think that's all for today's video. I will upload more video with the docker networking, docker volume 1 with the example. Okay, thank you so much guys, thank you.